All right, welcome back to Nerds by Screenlight. My name's Aaron.
I am Phil.
I'm Vicki.
And I'm Zoe.
And today's episode, we didn't even talk about an opener, did we?
No, we
Nope.
didn't.
We're doing it live.
Well, we could take over and be like, we could go on our mission to get our men to go hiking with us.
Yes.
We could do that for our opening.
Okay.
We have
Hi, I'm taking over the podcast for my husband.
Okay.
JK, just briefly. All right, so Zoe, our mission is to get both of you to come with us to El Dorado Canyon.
please and thank you.
All right, so I'll start with reason number one. It's really close to where maybe wants to go to school. It's right in the area, so we could do like a school visit. All right,
Okay.
Zoe, your turn.
There is beautiful water that just perfect ASMR.
That was an eye roll from Phil. I saw it from here.
You can-
The eye roll was
No,
significant.
it kind of took me back to like the debate from the other day. We have H2O. Like, okay, continue.
Okay, some of our hikes that we've been on, there isn't really water. You can actually get like close to the water.
Yes.
Like you could probably get in it, but it's very cold. But it's beautiful. It's flat enough for you guys, like you're not really going uphill, and you still get all the views.
I mean,
So-
like,
Reason four, Boulder has some cool restaurants.
me and Phil
Yes.
could hang out like slow roll like y'all and
Y'all could hang out by the water.
yeah,
Yeah.
we can do stuff. Y'all go do your thing, and that'll be an easy
yeah.
compromise.
And we'd have to get Cosmos
I was about to
pizza.
say, I know how to get Phil to go. We're gonna get Cosmos Pizza, and then he'll go.
Okay, well then that's the compromise.
Hey.
We'll put it on the list.
Okay, all right. Are
Sorry,
we
Aaron,
then
it
taking
is
over the
really
podcast?
good.
Phil would sell out anybody for
No,
Cosmo Pizza.
you're going to
apparently.
thank us for seeing El Dorado Canyon. It's really
It's
beautiful.
Worth it.
I love
Okay.
the pictures you guys took.
For me,
Okay.
it was fun because I feel like it's a place, like Zoe said, you don't hear about it, but you guys
Yeah.
were like, "Whoa!" the whole time, and I was like, "Yes, it's not just me. It is a cool place."
It was my favorite out of the three so far.
Okay.
So.
All right. So let's begin with Rat Race. So we'll convince us to go hiking. Results to be discussed at a later episode.
We'll keep you updated.
Yep. And on that note, we'll be right back with the 2001 Odyssey, The Rat Race. Here in a sec. Here on Nerds by Screenlight. Be back in a moment.
Get nerdy with me. Talk nerdy to me. Get nerdy with me. All I really need for you to do is just please
I get so.
talk to me. Talk nerdy to me.
All right. Welcome back to Nerds by Screenlight. My name's Aaron.
I'm Phil.
And Vicki,
And I'm Zoe.
And it's time to talk about Rat Race. At long last, a movie. Was the rating on Rotten Tomatoes?
45%.
Audience score is 45%.
No, wait, was it? The tomato meter was
Oh, the
45%.
tomato meter was 40, so
I don't know
yeah.
about audience. We need to look at that.
Critics didn't like it.
And then what is it? IMDb gave it a 6.5 out of 10.
Well,
Oh boy.
that's 60%.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little better than Rotten Tomatoes.
It's better than Rotten Tomatoes.
There's a sliding scale, I think, between those two
I'm
rating
curious
systems.
what the audience score is now, and I want to look it up.
All right, we're looking that up. While we do, so this movie is definitely they've said it. It's been talked about that it was based on It's a Mad, 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 Mad World.
Yeah.
In the same vein, it was
Yeah.
absolutely a takeoff of it, a modern remake of it, a modern reimagining. So this movie is not. It was not made on its own. It has.
It's inspired by it.
Inspired by it.
Audience score is 64%.
Okay, still not
Okay.
great.
But better than...
yeah.
So this is what I think about this movie. So there's moments in this movie where it fires on all cylinders. Like
Yes.
it really, and we'll get to those moments. But there's also moments where I'm just like, they did that
Yeah.
in this movie?
Yeah.
Well, that's not great.
some of the jokes did not age well.
Well, so this movie, this is the other thing you have to realize. And so for those of you who are listening, you're wondering, it was released in August 2001. So it probably took about 6 months to a year to make and go through post-production and all the editing. So we're talking a movie in the 2000s. Now, there is a...
Pre 9/11.
Yeah, pre 9/11. We'll talk about that for reasons as well. But also, like, the 2000s was a very wacky time for movies. Some of the more movies that have not aged well have came out of that 2000s, 2001, 2002 time period. and this one is definitely in that collection.
Everything back then just seemed like it had very dirty humor.
Yeah,
Not clean,
edgy,
like, yeah.
very edgy. Like, and I think they thought they were being edgy, but it really wasn't. It
Which
was,
I'll tell you, like as a teenager watching these movies, I loved them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now some of it's like a little cringe. It's still kind of funny.
I watched it
you
in
know?
my 20s and thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. We've got varying reactions. The movie stars here Rowan Atkinson, known for Mr. Bean, obviously. John Cleese of the Fawlty Towers and Monty Python. Whoopi Goldberg, who of course Sister Act 2.
Whoopi
Monkey
Goldberg
Bone.
needs no
Yeah.
introduction.
And then Cuba Gooding Jr., who is a name on his own. Seth Green, John Lovitz, Breckin Meyer, Kathy Najimy, and Amy Smart, and a bunch of others that didn't obviously
Why
get.
did they not put Kathy Bates in there?
She was probably like not even. I don't even think she would have rated a co-star. She
Like a guest star, maybe?
Yeah, probably a guest star.
that's what
But
TV
it's Kathy Bates.
It is.
This is true.
It is Kathy Bates, absolutely.
Who has an amazing part.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's directed by Jerry Zucker. The Zucker brothers are known for their humor movies, comedy movies.
A movie that Aaron likes and Zoe doesn't.
Yep. So produced by Jerry and Janet Zucker. So the Zuckers produced it. It budgeted for $48 million. It made at box office $85.5 million.
okay.
So it's made its budget and plus $40 million. So there you go. It put some money. So we begin in Las Vegas,
Yeah.
and we get introduced to our characters.
Who I'm really terrible with all their names.
Me too.
Except for,
Yeah.
even the Mr. Bean guy, I call Mr. Bean.
I think the only one I remember is Dwayne. That's the only one.
Dwayne.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's Seth Green's guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna pull this up so we have at least some names and some named characters, so that we know who we're talking about here.
Yeah, Dwayne and Blaine.
Yeah, they're
Dwayne and Blaine Cody.
But it's funny how families will do that. They'll have like the same letter for, some of the
yeah.
kids.
So who do we first meet? Do we first meet
The brothers, I think.
because they're trying? Are they?
I think.
Do we?
I think it's the I want to say rich guy. I don't think he's rich. He's a dude in a suit.
Oh, you're talking about the guy who's. Oh, he's coming to his.
Yeah, he's like the goody guy. He
Yeah.
doesn't-
So Breckenmeyer.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So
He's
his-
checking out of the hotel.
Yeah, his character name is Nick Schaefer, and he's checking out the hotel, and this is when he gets hit with all these inappropriate movies that he apparently watched.
Yeah, and she's. Yeah, I did not. Well,
Yeah. So
you watch this and this and this at
And-
this time.
He said how many times you watched it.
yeah, and he's like, no, I didn't. Which
I want it
tells
off
me,
my record. It's not a record, sir.
which tells me that obviously one of his like roommates or the guy who at the wedding for did this to him.
Probably.
But it's never really explored. It's never really like you never really figure out, well, what happened there? Like, what's going on? So he's the goody. And this is so to start off, his goody goodness does not hold out long enough. There's some moments where I'm just like, he would not have done that this early in his arc towards breaking the law and things that were going on. But he's our guy. So he is the goody. He always does everything right. And then who's next on our list of?
then
Isn't it Whoopi and her daughter?
maybe,
Oh,
yeah.
So Whoopi and her daughter meet. And
Who Whoopi has not had any contact with her daughter for like her whole life.
Yeah.
And now she's like grown up to be this businesswoman, and
Scary
she's
one.
not very nice.
no, she's terrifying. She breaks her phone and says,
I carry extras."
I carry backups."
That's a problem.
Yeah, that's
Anger.
stepping into counselor's corner
corner.
for a moment. What does that tell you about her anger issues?
She needs
Zoe?
some anger management. Man, because, well, I mean, I can't really remember how much like cell phones were back then, but I knew they were like pricey enough to not
Yeah.
be breaking them and then getting a new
So
one.
I graduated high school in 2001. I did not have a cell phone. I had my parents purchased one for me to have at college
Right.
in case I needed to reach out
Sure.
or something, and it was like a dumb little Nokia.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
it wasn't anything special. It was definitely
Because
not.
we didn't have, it didn't look like
No,
this.
these smartphones didn't come around until 06, 07.
Yeah, those are the flip phones.
Yeah. So I got that. So that was me, and nobody else really had them. So the fact that she has one and has backups is like.
And breaks it with her bare hands.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, girl.
What I love about it is we've got these two women who are very different from each other. Whoopi is just this lackadaisical, like almost gullible, but really nice.
Really positive.
Yeah,
like,
she's living her best life. But even her backstory of like life that's happened, like she's not living a good life.
No.
Things are not going well for her. And in the other side, her sister, who is just, or sorry, her daughter. Her daughter, who is just living the life, has made a business, is able to rent a car, charter a jet. Like, all of these things are badonkadonks.
But she's lonely and she can't sleep at night.
Yeah. And yeah, she asked, like the question she gets asked, like, sleeping at night, or she's like, that's just my story. And she's like, oh my gosh. So I think her backstory would have been very interesting to dig into.
Yes.
Like, again, I never would ask for a prequel to this movie, but if you had to, if you
No, let's not.
If you pointed a non-lethal weapon at me and said, make a choice between a prequel to Rat Race or the next Star Wars movie, I'd be like, give me the prequel to Rat Race. Give it to me now.
Gosh.
I'll take it.
In 2024.
Lightsaber colors don't matter anymore, Aaron.
Oh, don't get me started on the Acolyte. I have had feelings.
Wow.
Lots of feelings.
You can apparently
fire shooting out
headbutt
of
a
his eyes.
lightsaber and make it go out.
Okay, so we're gonna take a side trip into.
I'm not watching the show. I just know about it.
So this is the thing. I am very tempted that for me and you to actually do that, we would actually sit down and watch and do like a special Nerds by Screenlight Star Wars Acolyte watch along, like do some episodes, because it is. So spoiler alert, in case you hadn't, whatever. So Star Wars: The Acolyte has been getting a lot of news lately from YouTube people and commentators and reviewers, and it has not been great. It's been less than stellar. The thing that Phil is referring to is that our antagonist has apparently developed a helmet within which he can headbutt a lightsaber and short circuit it.
No.
What?
Headbutt?
It's both the coolest and dumbest thing I've ever seen.
So again, we're going off on a tangent here for a second, but here's the deal. As a writer and as a like a literary guy, language arts teacher, like I understand plot and I understand the rules for the universe you create have to maintain a stability. And this is going to probably push some buttons, some people out there. It's okay. Send an email, adelayteacher@gmail.com. Tell me that I'm a
Rants
terrible
with
person.
Aaron at Gmail.
Come for me. Don't come for anybody else. But here's the competing thoughts. We're going to get back to Rat Race in a second, but Phil, you did this and I blame you.
I blame you too.
So Star Wars.
I'm sorry. Just thinking about it.
There's two competing perspectives on the Acolyte, and some of what Star Wars has done is that Star Wars is old and it needs to have new rules or new parts of its universe explored, etc. And then the other side, obviously, which is what we have as the base from the prequels and the George Lucas ones, and even the new ones that they kind of just borked with anyway, but we still managed to get out with something that's serviceable and functional-ish. That was Star Wars. It works. And for the most part, Andor didn't mess around with things too much. Obi-Wan didn't mess around with stuff too much. A little bit of canon mess there, but nothing terrible. And so people were like, okay, cool. Like we're getting somewhere. Rogue One was pretty good because again, everyone had to die in the end. Okay, fine. Solo, competing feelings on Solo, but it didn't break the universe. It didn't take that set universe of Jedi, lightsabers, Force, blah, whatever. It didn't pull a midichlorian, okay? Which still people are mad about today, and I am still mad about today. Whatever, George Lucas, you do you. Georgie, baby. So, my point of it is this. The Acolyte takes a lot of that.
They have writers that have never seen Star Wars.
Oh my god.
And so
My heart.
Yeah, so part of what... So, again, spoiler alert. Again, if you haven't watched The Acolyte and you really want to... So, the only...
Don't.
That's Phil, not me. You do what you do, you boo.
You can reach him at... No, I'm just kidding.
No, you can't.
Call 1-800.
I know that email.
Call 1-800. Here's another side rabbit trail. If you ever use a 1-800 number or a website on a TV show or movie, you have to purchase it. Because if you don't, someone else will and cause all kinds of troubles for you. So if you've ever watched a TV show and they say, oh, you go to www.com, I can guarantee you the show's producers bought that website to make sure that it didn't get hijacked. Yeah, and phone numbers on TV shows, obviously they have to use like 303-555-1212 or whatever.
Yeah.
555 is not an exchange that works. It's how the movies get their phone numbers. Because if you give an actual phone number out in a movie or television show or whatever, people are going to call it.
Well, yeah.
And so sometimes what they'll do is they'll buy that phone number and then they'll put up a recording or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, back on track. So
So many tangents.
Anakin
Wow.
Skywalker, right,
Yes.
is the only one who was born via Immaculate Conception. He was born by midichlorians. There was no father. That was the thing. It was established in the prequels, among other things the prequels did.
Right.
They added to the story because we're going into the past. In The Acolyte, we
Magic.
magic. So we have the two twins who were born out of that same tradition. And so people are concerned, also upset, whatever. I'm trying to couch it in the best way possible here, because they're taking a lot of what is established lore and saying, well, no, he's not special anymore. We have two new, like, Immaculate Conception, Jedi-ish, whatever they are, children. And it's like, what? What?
Headbutting each other, I
Right.
guess.
Okay. So yeah, but so there's a lot of things that it's acolytes, and again, the side of people who are like, we need to be able to reinvent Star Wars. We need to be able to add to it. We need to be able to be able to make new things out of it. And it's like, yes, but the power of that universe existing and the rules in that universe existing is that the Anakin story was always special. Was always from the beginning, because when you watch the prequels and then you go back to episodes 4, 5, and 6, the weight of that power of his birth and his origin continues to have weight in that story as we learn about Luke and Leia and everybody else, because that is a center point of that story. Now with Acolyte introducing, we have a new, we can do, somebody else did it. Okay, then let's just say somebody else can't do it again.
Right.
Like now you've created you've added the second and the third, so now there's 3. What about 4? Like, hey, we can do this. It's the same thing.
Yeah, and actually, Acolyte takes place, I think, like 150 years before the original trilogy.
It's in the High Republic era.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a thing. And so there's a lot of also pieces where, like, again, the helmet, he headbutts the lightsabers and the lightsabers short circuit. What? It's a lot. So me and Phil, we're gonna do that.
God.
Let's just say we'll sit down, we'll watch The Acolyte, and then we'll come back and report and give our feelings.
All right.
Intellectual, thought-provoking, like rational, logical.
Rational.
That's gonna be a sliding scale for
Yes, for you.
But it's the same story. So the issue with the helmet, right, and a bunch of other things that happen in the series is, well, now that you've given that, now that you've opened the door for that,
Right.
there's more of that. We can do more of that now.
Yeah.
Again, a small rabbit trail. We'll get back to Rat Race in a second. So in the Star Trek movies that they read, the new movies, the Chris Pine movies, right? I think it was Into Darkness. So Into Darkness, the roles are switched in who dies. So in Star Trek Wrath of Khan, Spock's the one who dies in the warp thing, and they do a grand funeral and whatever. In Star Trek Into Darkness?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's Into Darkness. That's the one with Benedict Cumberbatch. And so Kirk is in the warp container
Yeah.
and he dies. Well, there's no like Genesis planet. There's none of that to bring him back to life. So how do you think they bring him back to life? Well, they discover a magic tribble that has the ability, like magic blood from Khan, I think it's who it's from, that it can bring something back to life because there's a tribble that's dead, and McCoy injects the magical blood into a tribble, and like 30 seconds later, the tribble lives again. And so now what they've done in the universe is, well, there's magic blood. We just got to synthesize that magic blood, and nobody will ever die again.
Woo.
But it's never touched on again after that.
Why?
Because this is why my issue is with we gotta come up with something new, and we gotta make it happen. Well, you do that, but you don't understand the long-term implications of what you've just done,
Totally.
or you just don't care. Because this will be we're gonna reference Star Trek Wrath of Khan, and then we're gonna reference Anakin and his specialness with the 2 new babies who were immaculately conceived from 2 women. Yeah, okay.
And it's like you can't make something that takes place like in a past tense whenever we've already seen the future, and have something that defeats a lightsaber in the past and that does not exist in the later
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Can
Like
we just stop messing with old movies and shows and just
Right.
like
Yeah.
have new
Right.
ideas?
So so we're gonna take one more rabbit trail.
Oh my god.
I know. We'll get back to Rat Race. This is
Poor
in
Vicki.
This is in the theme of it. So I watched the new Jack Ryan series
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Amazon. The fourth season was the last season. I love Jack Ryan. I have read all of the books. I have watched the movies, the Alec Baldwin, the two Harrison Fords. I'm not talking to you about Chris Pine because the Chris Pine Shadow Recruit. No,
No.
poor Chris Pine has ruined two of my franchises. Whatever.
Vicki is scrolling Instagram.
It happens.
Continue, do your thing. Do your thing.
Continue
Dude,
doing
No,
Vicki.
now I can't concentrate.
And I didn't even call you out on it. It was Phil this time.
You do it all the time.
Yeah, but not today.
Oh my Lanta.
That's on you, Phil. Ha ha.
Listen, the rants were going on for a little too long.
I can't.
Okay, so my point of it is this: is that when you talk about redoing shows, right? So the Jack Ryan series on Amazon is an actual like good remake or good reimagining of the Jack Ryan character. It actually works, and it's beautiful and it's brilliant. So if you have a chance, watch the Jack Ryan series. It's 4 episodes. So back to Rat Race. So where are we at with who we've met so far?
Now we're either on to the dumb ref or the brothers. I can't remember which one.
I think it's the brothers. No, it's the ref. Because I got
Oh yeah, they all hate him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I know.
Show me him. Is that him?
Yeah, it's Cuba Gooding Jr. from the movie with Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I love that movie.
which-
Maguire.
Jerry Maguire. Yeah.
show
Well, Renee Zellweger's in that movie, I think, too.
Yep.
I have.
I've never seen it.
I haven't seen it in a long
Girl,
time.
that's a good movie.
So here's the thing.
It's funny.
I'm not a fan of Tom Cruise movies
Right.
for various reasons, because I don't.
I can't talk to you right now.
We reached a new level. Can't talk to you right now. Didn't know it existed.
Your jaw hit
Not
the
even
floor.
looking at you.
I should qualify. Like his Mission Impossible stuff. Okay, whatever. That's great.
It's just who he is as a person.
I think
that's fair.
his later movies have not. I'm given his history and his story of. I mean, you talk about Katie Holmes and that whole mess.
Yeah.
His Nicole Kidman. Like he has not been kind. Like his relationship with his ex-wives and his children has been not the new as it's been revealed.
I heard they don't even want to be like their last name to be Cruz anymore.
No, the daughter, I think Suri was her name, but she's 18. She's hit 18 now, and she's decided to distance herself from her father. Like, so there's a lot there.
I can't talk about Tom Cruise because Aaron will have to edit out 15 minutes of audio again.
Audio.
So anyway, I do enjoy the Mission Impossible movies. I think they're just becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. Where it's just like, all right, get him James Bond. Just give him the James Bond. Put him in James Bond. Whatever. That's all he
don't
wants.
put him in
Oh, I
James
agree. I
Bond.
think that would be the dumbest.
Do not.
Because he's not British. Number one.
This is where I'll go on a rant if that
Yeah,
happens.
no,
I will lose my mind.
Well, that would be the end of the James
Sean
Bond film.
Connery was like the original, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was. He brought it back. Okay, so we get to the back on track.
Oh my gosh.
We get on to back on, and
We
so
haven't even gotten past the opening.
I know.
we're getting there.
No more tangents.
So Owen Templeton is the referee, and apparently it was based on a real life story or a real life ref where this happened. Obviously, it was
Based on a real life
I could
referee.
see it.
Yeah, I absolutely could. It was.
I understand making a mistake. It's
Yeah.
the fact that he was.
He doubled down on it.
Yeah.
But he was also in public.
Yeah.
Like, dude, if you a week ago you had botched one of the biggest football games officiatings like ever.
The coin toss too.
The
out of
coin
all
toss.
things.
This
You
is the time to hide away.
you would not be in Las Vegas.
I just love when he's like, it's not like a regular quarter. And I'm like,
It's
well,
a
then what-
magic quarter. What does that mean?
Dude, trying to explain it is not working.
so what? It's harder to read?
And then he
or like-
whistles in somebody's face like with so much attitude,
Yeah.
which was really funny.
Yeah. So he sees the broadcast or rebroadcast, and they're like, "Hey, you look familiar." He's like, "Oh, just got one of those faces." And then they're like watching it, and they turn back, and he's gone. He has left the bar. And then we get the two brothers who are.
They're
Scam artist, if there ever was.
I can't remember what the name of the one is, but he can't even talk because of his
Self
He is-
tongue piercing. That's
His
infected.
name is I forgot. hold on.
Is it Dwayne?
No, Dwayne
the
is
other
the
one.
one.
That's
Seth
the brother.
Green's character is Dwayne.
Yeah,
Okay.
the one that can't talk is Blaine.
And it's probably because he can't say whatever his
Blaine.
word. Yeah.
Yeah, Vince Viloff is the actor's name who created that character. And you find out slowly but surely that it wasn't like someone didn't botch it. He did it himself.
Ugh.
Yeah, you talking about his pierced tongue?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it does not.
It's
look
infected.
good.
It looks gnarly.
Yeah, it's bad. So,
But his brother can understand everything that he's saying, and I'm just
yeah.
like,
The family's funny like that. You know, like moms have like their toddlers. No one can understand them, but the moms can.
yeah, it's like
I used to nanny for twins. I could understand them, but I don't think anybody else could.
that's
Yeah.
fair.
He, interestingly enough, that actor has his last acting role was in 2010
Really?
Oh,
in
his
the movie
benefit.
Hysteria.
Oh,
He played the
okay.
character. He also starred in CSI in 2003 to 2009 in 3 episodes.
He did look familiar.
But he hasn't been, and he hasn't. His last writing gig was Hysteria in 2010. He was a director in 2010, but he hasn't appeared in anything
That's
since
weird.
2010. So the reality of it is, sometimes he might have just faded away and
Or done something else with his life.
done something else in life. Yeah, there's plenty of those stories there. Okay, so the 2 brothers, they're gonna create an insurance scam with a glass.
Yeah. So Dwayne's, God, this takes me back to like me and my brother having a younger brother, and it's
Right.
like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
You go do this, and it's like,
yeah.
and Dwayne takes advantage of his little brother all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah, Blaine is not the smartest one.
I can't see you doing that to Nate, but I could be wrong.
My brother's too smart for that. Nate. My brother he's a professor of agricultural economics. Dude's a genius, like doctorate level genius.
My brother and I set each other up for so much stuff.
Right.
There was one time he wanted to sneak out the house, and I was like, "Don't do it," but he did.
Yeah.
And he went out the window, and I shut and locked the window behind him. So he
You
couldn't
told
get
him
back
not
in.
to do it. I mean,
Well, how many years separated your brother though?
Maybe like at most 5.
Yeah, we were 5 years, and so we never were in the same school together. Like we had very different interests. He was a soccer player, skateboarder. I was a computer nerd, theater nerd. Our differences were so much like that just kind of kept us in our own
Whereas
little
my
worlds.
sister and I were 2.5 years apart, and I wouldn't do that to her, but there was a lot of like hiding behind a corner to scare each other. There was a lot of that, like growing up.
My brother and I, we were like at each other's hip all the time.
Okay.
Yep. So they argue over the cup, over the little glass,
Yeah.
and then some.
Why don't you do it?
Yeah, we'll do it.
Because somebody has to be the witness.
well, of course.
So they're arguing, and then a lady slips on it, and she full on. Then they shit. So I'm guessing this was a stunt lady or whatever, but she full on.
Oh my god.
All the way down.
All the way down the stairs.
Where there is conveniently a lawyer.
Her name is Gloria Allred. Now, I don't know if you know Gloria Allred. In 2001, and even now, she's still a pretty big shot lawyer. But at that point, she was the litigation queen. She was the woman you feared the most when it came to getting a subpoena or a notification of a lawyer about her. Gloria Allred struck fear, and probably still does, fear in the souls of businesses across this country.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
I
that
didn't
she
either.
was-
I didn't know who
She-
she was, but I figured
So
she has to be somebody.
So this is a similar thing to It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World, right? So some of the characters the actors we knew, and like, oh, okay, well they're in this movie and like the Three Stooges, okay, that's a cool cameo. We wish we had more, but with cultural time changes in that 2001, it's been what 23 years. In 23 years, and again, Gloria, if you're listening, we're sorry. Gloria Allred's zeitgeist has faded from the public cultural mindset. Like we don't remember her.
Right.
I remember her because I'm old enough, and she was involved in a lot of political, social, cultural kind of lawsuits and engagements. Brilliant litigator, brilliant lawyer, but she was always in front of the cameras. I am amused that she agreed and she put herself in this position to kind of make fun of herself. I have to say that does give her some more points in my book. But yeah, she wasn't somebody you messed with. So then they're like, dang it, we got to go find something else. And who do we meet next?
The family.
Oh my gosh.
Though, okay, that family's a hot mess. Like they're funny, but they're.
Well, and
Zoe
that's
was to say something.
Where the mom is Kathy Bates. Right?
No, the mom is from Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Kathy
okay.
and
The
Jimmy.
one who
She
rides
is-
the vacuum.
Yes.
She-
She,
Well,
is my
okay, well,
favorite.
Yes.
That confuses me any more than why Kathy Bates didn't get her credit.
I know it's messed
'Cause-
up to me.
Well,
she
may not-
wasn't in it as long. As
I'm just
much
looking
as,
at IMDb. Her name was listed in the credits of the movie. Obviously,
Right.
She does get it, but she's not listed.
Oh,
as
she's
a-
not listed as like
The
a
starring
star.
role,
main star.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, Kathy Najimy is absolutely. She was the,
Hilarious.
she was the voice of Peggy Hill on King of the Hill.
Yeah.
She's an absolute. She's a brilliant actress on her own. But yeah,
She
she-
headbutts her husband at least once.
At least.
I was like, a part of me is like, I can never get. I will. Aaron, for those of you who just know cameras, Aaron's a lot bigger than me.
Yes.
I don't think I could headbutt you
I mean,
and not
you
be
could try.
hospitalized.
I would
try.
I would just look at you and go, "You want to try that again?"
I was like, let me put on my helmet. Hold on.
Yeah, like I just
If I was going to do
You're
it,
going to
that's how I
start
would do
another
it.
tangent.
yeah.
Sorry, no, focus. Focus on the family. On this family.
The
So-
kids are crazy. They're a
Yeah,
little wild.
They're bonk donkers.
Also, why are you taking your kids to Las Vegas? Like, what are they gonna do?
David Copperfield. Like, dude, you can't even walk around Las Vegas without seeing, like, strip clubs and
Yeah.
stuff.
So this is 2001, a little bit of a different time. So now, obviously, there was that kind of stuff in, but
Right.
Las Vegas in 2001, and I think even now, but more so in 2001, 2000s, Las Vegas was a family destination. Like you could, like David Copperfield, there were shows that were good, and like you could go to Las Vegas and enjoy a family fun time.
Just don't go on the strip.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
I've been to Las Vegas, but I didn't gamble. Like, we went to a restaurant, we walked around. Like,
Yeah.
you can enjoy Vegas and not gamble, but
Yeah.
just walk around the strips. You could see past the strip club.
yeah.
And you could, just looking down, you see numbers of, like, hookers.
Yeah.
So,
Or even
don't
just,
take them
like,
out at night, I guess. I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like it's going to be hard
even
to
the
get kids today.
performers on the strip sometimes are
Yeah.
a little risque. So.
Well, then it also speaks to to John Lovitz' character's like his mindset of like, where would you take your family on
Yeah.
vacation?
Well, he just wants to gamble, I think,
Yeah.
honestly.
Well, and
Yep.
it's alluded to that he has a gambling problem.
Yeah.
And his wife is like, "You're not gonna. You told me you weren't gonna gamble. You said you weren't gonna gamble." So this was a subtext for him, obviously, because you see him as he's like out the door. He's got rolls of
Going
money
to the gift shop.
going to the gift
Yeah.
shop. And then when this is one of my favorite parts of the movie. The kids are jumping back and forth on the bed. Boom!
I've totally.
It's like, honey, kids need you.
And he just takes off.
the kids need you.
Gosh.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And then we get who else do we get?
Well,
Miss.
no, we don't get Mr. Bean till the
Not
actual
till, like,
meeting.
yeah, they're actually.
I think that's all of them, right?
Yeah, because we get Nick.
So?
He's the Nick Schaefer is the
Because
attorney.
someone wins something in the.
Okay, so they
there's 8
each
coins.
win
There's
a
8
token.
coins.
Yep,
Yeah.
they each
Yep.
win a token. And Nick Schaefer is Breckenmeyer's character. He is absolutely his buddy who was getting married or was married or what's going on.
Right.
Is like, hey, they've brought in some girls up to the room and you should come see them and they're really great. And he's like, no,
I got to get back to my job.
I got to be responsible. He's like, you don't have to be responsible. I'm like, I have people that I have to be responsible for, and two, as a lawyer, like I got to be good about this. And what I do love about this is that he does stay true to his character. He does say, no, I'm not going.
Yeah.
I'm not
and
doing
this
it.
guy of like his poor fiance. Like,
yeah.
don't marry this guy.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen him come back somehow in the movie and like just be an absolute getting his own comeuppance in some way. But you can't be beggars and choosers on it. So he then's like, hey, take this magazine and steal it. And he's like, no, I'm not doing that. So as he's walking out later, he kind of looks at the machine and goes, okay, I'm gonna do it.
He's like, I'm not good at two shoes.
Yeah,
I
can do-
gamble.
I gamble. And
Which
so
I,
I think it was
I
like
kind
a
of,
penny slot.
which I kind of understand on a personal level because this was definitely like me in high school. Let's be real, it kind of still is.
Yeah.
There could be a little part of me that's like, I do things.
I'm cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he gets a little token. They all get a token eventually that says, "See the gift shop." And so I think somebody comes to get. They go, "What is this about?" And they're like, "Oh, it's like a food and everything." I was like, "Oh, what?" But there's more. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. That's all I know. So they all ended up in the room, and he knows John Cleese's character, who I love. John Cleese. I love anything he's in.
His
He's
teeth distract me though.
yeah, they're
What?
he's very shiny white teeth.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, very very.
There's no way those are real.
Yeah. I think that may have been part of it to kind of get you unsettled.
Yeah.
With him, like to just not like him. You don't like him anyway, but he basically knows everything about everybody, and he sets out the deal. Okay, There's a locker.
But
and
wait.
Well-
Mr. Bean walks in first.
Oh yeah, that's right.
What
I
a
can't
wonderful room.
Yeah.
Hey, the golden coin. He's the character's great.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. Every line of his is quotable.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about the timelessness of Mr. Bean and it internationally appreciated.
Yeah.
When I lived in Central Asia, they knew about Mr. Bean and loved him, and I was just like, I think I sang something.
Yeah,
My
totally.
sister used to do that little dance from the movie.
Yeah. Mr. Bean is one of it as
It's iconic.
one of my childhood favorites, and to this day remains one of my favorites. Rowan Atkinson is fantastic. If you're out there listening, and also to us here, go on YouTube and look for Rowan Atkinson in Hell, and he's in charge. He's the guy at the gates of hell.
Oh, interesting.
no.
And it's absolutely phenomenal. It's hilarious. But his sketch comedy also, like he does a bunch of acts as a part of a live show he did like in the 80s or 90s or whatever. It's absolutely hilarious. He was a very physical, but also like very honest. His facial expressions.
He
was
looks goofy.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, he was a master. But he also had a show on the BBC in the 80s or 90s called The Thin Blue Line, which was very much like a sitcom with like a funny police,
Like a laugh track?
Yeah, a funny police sitcom. It was called The Thin Blue Line, and he was in that show, and he was taken as serious. He's also in Blackadder. I think there's 3 or 4 series of Blackadder. If you haven't checked that out, you need to check it out because it's absolutely fantastic.
Okay.
The first season or 2 will probably be a little bit of a slog, but it's funny. It's him and a bunch of other dudes. Stephen Fry is in there. It's hilarious. It's good stuff. Hugh Laurie is in there.
Okay.
It's amazing. So definitely check it out. Okay, so who's next? They're all in the room.
Yeah.
And the sale is the sale's given.
Well, first he throws them off, and
Oh yeah, there's been an asteroid is coming, and he's like, just kidding.
So dramatic.
I'm just like, okay, all right. Get to the real story. So he tells them all. He gives them all keys. They've got GPS trackers in them, which for 2001 was impressive.
Uh-huh.
I'm kind of like, all right.
so I found out the trivia. They actually did the math comparing to Mad Mad World. But I don't remember what the original money amount was. But
It's exactly the amount.
Yeah, they made the equivalent.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
oh, so yeah, in this movie it's like $2 million.
It's
$2
$2
million.
million.
Yeah. So it's actually again they've drawn some comparisons, and I really appreciate that for having some continuity between the movies. And then we get to the elevator. They're all waiting by the elevator.
Well, they'd all signed
Well,
a
he's like-
waiver before too.
Yeah, and then he goes, go.
yeah, and they all
And
like,
no one moves.
Yeah, they're
He
like,
takes a gun,
Go.
like we're at the
I
races.
know.
and they all freak out, and they all end up at the elevator, and they're like, well,
We're not gonna do this.
And then who was the first one to bolt?
Mr. Bean.
The dad. Oh, no,
Was-
it wasn't Mr. Bean?
No,
Yeah,
it was
I-
the dad. It was the dad.
dad?
He's
Are
like,
you
no, we're just a few
sure?
floors down anyway.
Yeah,
I'm just
he's
gonna
like, oh,
walk."
I'm 2 floors down anyway. Like, no, because Mr. Bean is stretching. He's getting his
Yeah, he's
stretches.
doing
in.
his
He's-
race.
he's-
You know,
yeah,
those
I-
stretches, some
yeah,
of them.
yeah, he's.
Oh, because they're low key about it. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm just not gonna wait on the elevator. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna take.
So
a
John
turn.
Lovitz
Yeah.
is the first one. He's like, my room's 2 floors down. I'm just gonna go, and and then
Skedaddles.
and he skedaddles, and then it's Cuban Gooding Jr. is next. And he's like, I'm gonna
It's
do-
probably stuck anyway.
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
take
go
it.
too.
And that's when it all kicks off. Everyone is running, and they all run down the stairs and eventually collide with each other and get stuck. Wait.
Everyone except for Nick.
Yeah, Nick's just waiting in the elevator. He's
'Cause
not.
He's like, I'm not doing
yeah,
it.
he's not
like, I'm
sold
not.
on the idea yet.
And I almost feel like when they collide, they're almost having this moment of like, well, I guess we could do this together.
Right.
But then they're like, no.
Well, because
I
Mr.
thought it
Bean
was-
comes and passes them
Yeah.
and says,
Yeah.
I'm winning.
I thought it was like a funny callback to Mad 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 World where they all.
Yeah, on the stairs.
Yeah, the
Except they're going
stairs.
down instead of up.
Yeah.
Well, not even in the stairs, but also like on the highway when they're all trying to make a deal or trying to do whatever. So and like they even at the table they're like, well, we'll just form a corporation and we'll do this. And John Cleese is like, what? No, no, you don't
No.
want to do that. So they flirt with that idea, but then they kind of just go their own way, which I think makes this movie a little stronger than Mad 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 World. I love it's Mad 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 World no matter what, but it definitely helps. So then, yeah, Mr. Bean comes down. They're all like, ah! And
I think he falls asleep because he's narcoleptic, which is really
yeah,
interesting.
He ends
Yeah.
well, okay, so narcolepsy isn't. This is the thing that probably people got upset about back in the day, and are probably still upset about today. That's not how narcolepsy works.
No.
It's not a. That's not. That's
All right,
that's-
Counselor's Corner. What is it like?
I mean, like, first of all, you're not really going to be standing up asleep. You're
Right.
going to kind of like fall over.
Right.
And it's just so, I just feel sorry for him, just to be honest, throughout the movie, because honestly, he would have been the one to win,
Yeah.
but he fell asleep.
Yeah. Well, and
Well, then we found out like there's a secret society
Yeah.
betting on who's going to get there first. And then when Mr. Bean falls asleep, the guy's like, what is he doing? Is he sleeping?
I was betting on it. Well, I can't change it now.
Yeah.
And these guys literally bet on everything.
Under the sun. Yeah.
It is
Like,
funny.
you have a problem. You guys have a problem.
I think what it does is it spotlights, like, these men have so much money
Yeah.
that they can just do whatever they want with it. Like, there is no good reason for this, but they are. It also kind of spotlights, like, how they view these poor innocent. Well, by the end of the movie, none of them are innocent folks who just kind of are like desperate for money. $2 million, even today in 2024, that's a good chunk of change.
Yeah.
And so that, I think, is a kind of speaks to they just think they'll dangle money in front of people and they'll respond, which they do, obviously. So it's just, I don't know, it's an interesting dynamic to see this kind of cabal of.
Well, and it's in a locker somewhere. It's not like you're gonna have to go dig it up and
Yeah.
like find the W.
Everyone's got a key.
Yeah.
Okay, so they all take off.
They all like try to get a flight out.
Yep. So they get.
And then the Doofus brothers.
Hold
my
on.
gosh.
Just show me the money guy. Sorry, I can't remember his name.
Cuba Gooding Jr. I'm giving you the names.
referee.
Our roles have changed.
I
Or
know.
Owen. His name's Owen in the movie.
Owen. He gets in the cab with the same guy that
Yeah.
was just complaining about him and just found out that was the Rev. And so they're, oh man, that was funny.
Yeah, he goes and drops him in the desert.
Yeah.
Hello again.
There's a lot of, and that actor is a character actor who is obviously, he's famous on his own. So I do love how they don't play it up, but it's just, you're like, I know who that guy is. I know that character. Oh, this is gonna be fun. So they kind of sprinkle those in, which is helpful. So first so we've got Dwayne and Blaine destroy the airport radar. Which,
Doofus
the
brothers.
fact that they were able to get away with that,
For real.
that's, in some ways, that's the first
The
shot.
nerdy
I feel
music
like-
part of me it appreciates the fact that In the Hall of Mountain King is playing in the background of that. I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh, a classic.
I was watching this and I'm like, it was like a split second. They destroyed the tower and their vehicle.
Yep.
Next thing you know, they're in another car. Where'd they get the car from?
So they got that car. They went to a car dealer. Or
yeah,
a car,
they did.
And he's
It's
like,
where'd
is
you get your
this,
license from? Guam.
Oh yeah.
and there's a story there, but we never get any of that. So they get in the car and then they're off. But again, in the real world, and even before September 11th, they would have been immediately arrested, immediately charged, immediately jailed.
Totally.
Like, this would not have been. And what's funny is that obviously after September 11th, a lot of things changed. So even pre 9/11, this would have been. But even like post 9/11, that would have been guarded. Like, that would have been, like, there would have been security cameras.
Yeah.
So the fact that it was
Yeah.
that easily attacked or whatever is just kind of a little bit of a bonkers thing. So they rent an old Cadillac, and they decide to split up, but
Yeah, convertible.
they get to a locksmith.
Okay, but this. So you were talking about how this was a stupid plot point, but it mirrors what happened in Mad Mad World,
Yeah.
where they're instead of actually talking to somebody about the deal, they're talking
Yeah.
loudly in front of somebody who
Yeah.
overhears the deal.
Well, and they deserve what they get. Like,
Oh, yeah, they're the
absolutely
worst.
awful human beings. It's the locksmith figures it out, gives them 2 fake keys, and takes the other one and is off and running.
Woo!
We'll get to the whole cow situation.
This is where it jumped the shark.
Good to note, though, whoever's in charge of animal welfare signed off on this movie because obviously they weren't going to do any of those. Like, I think they probably did hit the cows, really, but the cows are pretty hardy animals. But they didn't hang a cow from a thing that.
Why?
Apparently. Okay, so we've got.
To me, that was.
Now we're on to Randy and his family.
Oh my goodness.
They go through it.
Yes.
Well, he convinces them like, we got to go now. I got a job.
Yeah, I got a gig. It's a pen something or another in this city.
I'm almost like, this is a family vacation. Like,
yeah.
we want to be with you. We will go with you.
Yeah, because he tries to say.
Because at first I'm on board with her. I'm like, yeah, it's family time. Because I'm such a quality time person.
Yeah.
As Aaron knows.
Yeah. Well, so his wife basically bullies him into taking them along. So
She's a force of nature by
yeah,
herself.
I
Oh,
would.
yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't play around. So
They get on the road and the daughter's like, I got to go to the bathroom.
Like over and
Okay,
over.
so she says something there, which is something that I had said a lot growing up, and my mind totally blanked out where I learned it from.
Okay.
I'm prairie dog over here.
Gosh.
I was like, oh my god.
So the movie then takes it one step further because Dad goes, "What do you mean?"
I'm like,
and,
we don't
then
need
the
to
son is
know.
like, "Well, it's when the prairie dog's poking in and out of the hole," and both of them like, "Oh, ow!" Which I have never used that expression in my life.
Nor
used it a
should
lot.
you start now.
I never knew where. Totally forgot where I got it from.
Well, apparently Rat Race was the one that was the one that started it.
But yeah, they make her go like out the window,
Oh, I can't even.
and she
Like,
it-
you're a terrible father.
and doesn't it land like on a cop car?
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
I missed that part.
We skipped through that. I was just like,
Oh,
this
that's
is,
why.
This is uncomfortable. I do not like this. But yeah, he's like, we're going to turn up the music. Like, you're going to be fine. Just do what you got to do.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No.
No.
And then, yeah, go ahead.
I don't think the police would have just given him a ticket. I think there would have
No.
been,
I think that
okay,
maybe.
Child Protective Services would probably have been involved.
Yeah.
you're
'cause you're
endangering-
endangering a child.
And yeah, making her do things she shouldn't do at that age in a car with, wow.
Yes.
Or ever.
Every.
No human being should ever.
Oh my gosh. It's so, the absurdity of this movie is fun. It does push it a few times where I just kind of like, okay, we're not funny anymore. This is the gross out humor of the 2000s. Whatever. So there, and you look at the scene with the police. The guy behind the police officers at the door, like making a ticket. The guy behind him is cleaning his
Cleaning the
window.
That's the connection.
Yeah. So it's not like thrown in your face like that's what happened, but you know.
You
Fix-
know.
you put the pieces
I
together.
appreciate
Yeah.
the throwing in the face metaphor you just used. Considering
job.
What we're talking
Good
about.
job.
Nice job.
Unintentional, by
Yeah.
the way.
Through the hoop, in the goal, touchdown, all the things. So they're off again.
And she wants to go to a Barbie museum.
So
It does me in too.
So I love this moment because I had forgotten about this. I knew about the Nazi officer car that was coming.
Yeah.
I just couldn't remember how they got it because again,
This is the part I could not forget.
I haven't seen this movie in
It's
many,
been a while, but
many,
the museum really stands out in my
But
life.
I was just like, Barbie museum. What's? I couldn't remember. And then it was like, oh, the SS officer Jose
Three-time
Barbie.
ballroom dancing champion,
champion.
not just
was
they're
the
just
young-
their
youngest of-
eyes are bugging out of their heads.
So to be clear, John Lovitz is Jewish, like, like very
That makes
Jewish.
it even funnier.
And so, and even I
does.
think the movie wife, she is also she's probably Jewish as well, and obviously the kids, like it's a whole Jewish family. And so the joke
It's the
here-
worst place they could be.
Yeah.
It's just like, and
Well,
they're-
they're the only children there too.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, and so they go through the whole like, oh, and da 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 da, and they talk about the car, and it's just like they're like, oh, you're leaving? Oh, yeah, we got some
Book
things.
burning at 4:30.
Yeah, book burning at 4:30. We're gonna go
Yeah,
have
because
a.
the brothers sabotaged their car, right? They pass
Yeah.
it, they see it.
So
and-
they're in the museum, and the brothers drive by and see it, and they go, oh, and so they're in the museum being distracted, and then they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna go bring some books, and oh, we're gonna go see our white nationalist friends picnic.
Blood relatives. They're blood relatives. And a very smart wife who's like, we are not.
And the
no.
girl's like, oh, a gift shop, and they're like, no, no, we're leaving.
we'll come back later. I think she says we'll come back
Next time, I
later.
promise. You know.
So it's like what I love about this movie is it does the absurdity of this moment is just blaring and glaring.
Yep.
But it's funny because you know that it was not done malicious. Like this is just like to show you like this is how absurd this situation is. This is why it was bad.
Well, I feel like it gets a little worse.
Oh, it absolutely does. It doesn't. It doesn't get any better. So they get out to the car and it's been sabotaged. They don't know by who.
Right.
But it's been sabotaged. So then they steal Hitler's car.
Yeah.
He had it coming.
Yeah. John Lovitz. What? Just stealing Hitler's car? He had it coming. It's fine. It's fine.
I love it when she's like taking the lipstick out and
Give
like
us a
putting it on.
kiss. I like the harmonica parties. Like, why can't I play this, Dad? You stole Hitler's car. Why? I'm not sucking on the dashboard. That's a valid point.
Yeah, it's like the absurd. This family, in some ways, you can tell that they do care for each other, but they're also just they're bonkers. Every single one of them is just nuts. And so I don't know how far if what we skipped so far.
well, up next is Owen
Oh,
Right. He
after
meets,
he's kicked out of the taxi.
Oh, that
He's
guy.
like, he's like walking in the desert.
Oh, it means it with the Lucille Ball. Okay,
Oh,
so
the
this
Lucy's.
So this moment is where the movie lost me, and it was because it was so gross out, like where he shows up, he's parched, he finds the water fountain, the Lucy conglomeration is like, oh, where's our driver? This is unprofessional. What's he doing? So he gets in there.
Yeah, it's like the whole pregnancy thing.
That's where the movie lost me. It lost me there. Zoe's not
I'm
laughing.
like,
Zoe's,
I don't
See,
remember
for
this.
me, what bugs me isn't the fact that he's like describing the birth; it's the reaction of the bus driver. That's
It's-
the part I can't stand.
This is what I would qualify, and
I think
Phil will
it's a creep on a whole nother level.
Phil just will disagree with me on this, but it's cringe. So it's where he basically is like, I need your shirt for the, and he goes into the description of the various parts and pieces of the birth. Oh,
Yeah.
the placenta, these other things.
and
I'm
the
not-
hat is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
Oh, now, okay, it's coming
There-
back. It's
there we
coming back.
go.
Okay.
And we're live.
Okay.
We're-
Because he needs the
can't-
clothes. I
can't
get it.
spell out
I
what
get
it
it.
was.
So he-
Okay.
but it really, again, 2000s, 2001. Like
Right.
this is probably normal in the movie. Oh, we're gonna do something funny about women pregnancy things and grossing out bullet guys. Because eventually, I think he just passes out at some point. The driver does, or he's just.
I love the way he says it though.
Oh yeah, keep
I
on-
need it for the.
yeah. And he just it's intended to gross him out.
And it's like, oh.
And so this is the part where if that part had not existed, this movie would be up in the scale, higher in the scales for me, because it's unnecessary. Like I get it from like a plot point where he's desperate to get this guy and his clothes so he can drive the bus, but he could have just snuck up behind him, clobbered him, and told
Oh, so
him-
that's better, Aaron. Violence.
that's- yeah.
Violence is better. Okay.
Instead of willingly handing it over.
Yeah, well, I didn't like to your point. Kind of the way that it happens is that he uses like gross out, like he uses the
Some of the terms he uses aren't even like the
Medically
right
correct.
terms.
Oh no, not at all.
he ends it with something.
We're not going to say what he
yeah.
ends it with.
This scene is where I kind of just was like, okay,
And for me, again, the part that bugs me is the reaction of the bus driver because
Yeah.
he's not as grossed out as he should be.
right,
Right.
And sometimes he even seems to be not grossed out.
It's bonkers. I don't like.
I
the
don't want to
scene.
say it out loud.
Nope, I wouldn't. So
Nope.
it's just
But I'm like, what is wrong with you?
so again. That's why this scene I just could do without. Like
Totally.
I understand the humor of it. I get it, but I also just like no. Take it out and run it away. So he,
Gets on the bus.
with all the Lucy's, it's a
So
Lucy
many.
convention.
I think we are skipping around a little bit, but
We-
we're still
yeah.
telling the story.
So yeah, we do. Yeah, sorry. So we do got to come back. So
So
because
Whoopi
we
Goldberg
haven't
and her
because
daughter.
we haven't even got to where Nick has left yet.
yeah. So let's go back to Nick. So this.
Favorite.
So I love. So Amy Smart.
I love her. As soon as I saw her, I was like,
Yeah.
ah!
Well,
I-
this is the lady where Zoe was like, "Why is she in this movie?"
No, because I was excited. Like,
No, you were like, "Everyone else is a comedian. This is a real actress."
So,
That's what she said.
true. But it's because I love her, and I just, I
And what
didn't
else is she in?
like the butterfly effect is like one that
Okay.
really sticks in my head.
here, I'll give you a list. So here's the thing. I will say this. Amy Smart is one of my favorite actresses over the years. She's like really. She's very choosy. So I was reading something recently that she's been very particular about the movies she shows in.
Okay,
Which is
yeah.
interesting. If you take a comparison between her and like a Tara Reid. Tara Reid from American Pie, who
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
not done well, both physically and
Well, and she was in the Road Trip, which is kind of like American Pie.
yeah.
but-
But Amy Smart has actually been like smart about her choices, whereas Tara Reid, she got like some really bad like plastic surgery that backfired on her, and she's kind of been on a downward trend. But yeah, so her filmography. Starship Troopers. She was a pilot. She was in let's see, Varsity Blues, which
Another good one.
I remember
Oh,
that.
yeah.
That was 1999. She was in Road Trip, Rat Race, obviously, National Lampoon. She was in Battle of Shaker Heights, Win a Day with Ted Hamilton. She was in Starsky and Hutch, Just Friends.
Yep.
She was also in. She's been very interesting. She's had some interesting choices. House of the Rising Sun.
It's a more serious movie though.
Yeah.
It has Ashton Kutcher in it too. So.
All right.
She's continued to work. up through 2024, she was in a movie called Rally in 2024 Rally Caps. She's also been on television for the better part of. She was even in Stargirl on a television show 2020 to 2022. So anyway, she's. I love her as an actress, but I just love her because she knows what she's doing.
And then, oh god, I'm sorry, I know she really wasn't driving the helicopter, but oh my god,
Yeah.
that scene was amazing.
So what I love about chemistry is important in movies, right? Chemistry between actors and actresses and whatever, especially if they're supposed to be like love interests or whatever, it's important. It matters.
Yeah.
And you can tell pretty much within the first couple of minutes of any kind of movie or show if, okay, is this believable? Are they actually married or engaged or girlfriend, boyfriend, or is there potential here?
Yeah.
With her and Breckenmeyer, fire. It is absolutely, they're getting on like a house on fire. Like, yeah, he strikes out with her a
Which I
couple
kind of
times.
love for him because he played this part in Clueless where he's like
Right.
the love interest you don't want.
Yeah.
So I was excited for him with this character.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you really kind of cheer for them. Like they're all right. We kind of
Well,
want
and
them.
like he's like, we're reading the same book. I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah. Now, what we don't get if he maybe went to a bookstore to grab that at the airport.
That's true,
And
yeah.
then kind of tried it, but it looked like he probably was reading that book.
I think it was
He's a
probably
straight edge
natural.
guy at this point. He's still doing.
Yeah.
So then he's like, oh well, all the, jeez, sorry, trying to play a tune, it's not working. He's like, well, nobody's flying because, and she's like, oh no, well, I'm on a helicopter. I use a different system. He's like, really? And that's when the wheels start turning.
Well, and it's crazy because like right before he met her, he like threw his key away
Yep.
at the bar.
Yep.
Yeah, because he's like, I'm not doing.
And then
this.
he's like digging through the trash.
he full on
Well,
jumps.
honestly, he can't make his flight anyway.
Right. So he's.
So I'm like, I might as well.
I think he lies to her and he tells her that his
Yeah.
sister is
Yeah.
something's dying.
Which we're like, oh, why did you have to do that?
Yeah.
So then he's like, okay, let's go. And they're going. And he's like, oh, where are we going? He's like, no, I just got to make a stop. I just got to go see my boyfriend.
Let's say hi to my boyfriend for a
And
second.
he's like,
Your
okay.
boyfriend.
And then she gets closer. And she's like, that's, I don't know,
Charlene's car.
Charlene's car. And he's like, what? And here's again, to your point about how good she is, she goes full on, lost it, psychopath, crazy
I carry Underwood
ex-girlfriend.
before he cheats to another.
Yeah,
woman.
Yes.
she and the facial, like the eyes bugging out.
I come in a bad
It's,
time.
it's scary.
It is
I
genuine.
loved it.
It was fantastic. It is one of my watching her and Breckenmeyer on screen is some of my favorite stuff because they're
It's like,
absolutely.
Give me the paint. I don't think I should. Give it to me. Okay. It's like, yeah, dude, give her the paint. Give her the paint. Give it to her.
She said she's throwing down wrenches. She's throwing down.
Not the truck. It's like, that's smart.
So then she hits him with the paint, and then she chases him.
Yeah. I want my 5 months back. I'm getting a tattoo removed. I'm like, oh, speaking of codependency.
Yeah, for
that's too soon.
So in Counselor's Corner, if this was currently in front of you,
This is a toxic relationship. Do not get it.
you do not.
It makes you feel almost sorry for the dude who cheated on her.
I don't feel sorry for him because he
don't
sees the
know.
other guy and he's like, who's the guy? And she's like, oh, Charlene, let this in the car. And she sticks it in his mouth. Give it back to her, will you, honey? Well,
'cause
I'm like, you give it to him.
I'm pretty sure that's like her house, her truck.
Yeah, because she's like, I paid for the truck.
Yeah.
I like.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
At this
True.
point, I'm like, the helicopter thing, I'm like, wow, it's too far. But in the car, I'm like,
Yeah, she goes full bat crazy.
Yeah, she does. She loses it. And Breckenmeyer is just along for the ride, and then they crash.
Yes. And I don't know what happens, but she's like, we just broke a lot of law.
115 or something.
Well, because so the
The police are coming.
Yeah.
She see the sirens are here.
Because the helicopters pass these two cops, they just look at each other. It's like, did
That-
you just see that?
I
Yeah.
do love that moment where like the truck passed, and all of a sudden, and you're just like, okay,
That
Well, it's
happened.
like, what are the cops going to do about the helicopter? they're going to have to call that in, wait
Right.
for one to get out
So,
here.
yeah, they figured it out. So then he lands, and then she gets in the car, and he's like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. And then he kind of just says, you know what? Let's go.
Let's go.
So he gets out. He says, wait for me. Gets in the truck, and they are off to the races.
Which in some ways I'm like, well, gosh, if he decided not to go with her, those cops are going to charge him as an accomplice.
Right.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I love that those two. I love their story, and I really appreciate.
he better not shoot on her.
And-
He's got to kill him.
Yeah,
And actually, that's like their main that's their main conflict through the whole
Yes.
Yeah.
thing. They don't really have any more trouble until the end.
Yeah.
I guess now we should go to Meryl and Vera.
Yeah, my favorite is Whoopi Goldberg's character.
So,
This is just like a different character though for Whoopi. I feel like
yeah.
she's
Yeah.
very naive and just
Yeah.
like
Happy,
Happy-go-lucky,
positive,
yeah.
like, yeah, the squirrels are cute.
Yeah, she is. And I like that she's playing against type because usually
Yeah.
she plays like a streetwise,
Right, yeah.
like
Yep.
don't mess with her, like whatever. But no, Whoopi's just playing something. And again, that speaks to Whoopi Goldberg's acting ability. Like she has talent, obviously beyond measure.
Range.
Yeah,
Yes.
a lot of range. So they decide to go do it. They get the car, and they get the rental car, and they don't care about it. And he was this with a trainee. He was working on the computer.
Oh, yeah. And she's like, ask him about insurance.
yeah.
Would you be interested in
Oh
purchasing?
my god.
no.
Press shift. Okay, enter. Shift again.
I have been in that situation, and I have patience. I do. I just am like, okay, they're new. We've all had our first days of the job.
I hate training people like that.
Yeah.
I just no.
Yeah, it's rough. And so obviously it's a busy airport, and having a trainee in that line, it was
Yeah.
bad. And so anyway, so yeah, it's
Well, and Whoopi wants to be like, yeah, I want that. No, like let's.
Like, how much does it cost? Honestly, she was like my spirit animal in this movie. So I'm like, maybe. I don't know.
right.
You already have
I was like, we
insurance.
gotta go. Oh, okay.
So then they drive and they get lost. I think.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, and the lady's like, I got the squirrel lady.
Have you been squirrel?
No.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
not
it's a
talking to you.
Yeah, because Whoopi would have been like, yeah, let's buy a squirrel.
She's about to. You can tell she was thinking about it.
So yeah, so the daughter obviously like, no, we don't care. Like we don't want this.
Right.
And I think what we get here obviously is the story of like, look, don't like breathe. Just
Yeah.
and hey, what's the story with the squirrels? Everyone's got a story.
That's a good idea.
And it's like again, that comes from like my customer service world of like, there's somebody on the other side of that counter. Well, it might be a crazed Kathy Bates trying to sell you squirrels,
And make it sound like they're talking.
and they really poor ventriloquism.
Yeah.
But I love Kathy Bates in this moment because she's absolutely just eats she chews the scenery. It was absolutely fantastic. So we don't want the squirrel. Now Whoopi's character is like, yeah, no, okay,
Yeah.
but daughter's having none of it because she wants to get the money. And
Can
so,
you imagine being in the same room with those two, like, back and forth with each other? That would have been a treat.
Amazing.
Yeah. So Kathy Bates gives her directions because she won't take the squirrels, and
Gives her a little bag of like
yeah,
acorns.
Yes,
or
yeah,
something.
here's
some
some
squirrels.
nuts
And
in
it
case you
says,
see a
I
squirrel.
love squirrels.
yeah, yep. So they take off and they're
They
off.
don't make good pets.
No, they don't. They're not.
And I feel like this is like the same from Mad World, like where the boy is like taking him over the water. And,
Oh
like,
yeah. Yeah, there is elements. Yeah, there is that because he does go down a big hill.
yeah.
Okay, I didn't even think about that. Look at that. Okay, so what happens next?
Enrico. We got to get to Enrico.
Oh,
we
yeah.
finally see him again.
Yep.
Like it's like been forever.
Yeah, because he's always falling asleep.
So he ends
So
up,
now he is with Zach, the ambulance driver.
which is Dennis Nedry from Jurassic Park.
Yeah. When he gets eaten up by the dinosaur.
Yep. So what I love about this is that Gloria Allred makes her second appearance because Enrico walks across the street and gets run over and hit. And the driver's like, oh,
But
and
there's not a scratch on him.
no, he's fine. But then Gloria Allred says, I saw that. Stay where you are. I'm coming for you. And he
He's
goes,
like, "Oh,
that's
no."
Gloria Allred. No. Go get the car. It's fine. Okay. Where are you going? Where
Well,
are you
I'll
going?
give you a ride. Don't take a taxi.
Yeah.
Come with me.
Yeah, I'll take you. And then they're off. And he, this is where things get a little bit, I don't know what the word is. Absurd is a rolling scale on this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all over the top.
It's all over the place.
Yeah, but this is one of the jokes that, for me personally, internet has never landed.
Yeah.
So he's transporting an organ.
So all the planes are shut down. And normally, I guess that they would use a plane
Yeah,
to
it's faster.
transport. It's faster, whatever.
Because
But-
organs have a shelf life.
Yeah.
They do.
why I
So
found
instead,
this.
they hired a messenger service with this guy.
Oh my gosh.
And-
Why?
So they're driving along, and he's like, "Do you know what I'm transporting?" I'm like, "Oh no,
No one cares.
no one cares." Just
No,
keep
I
driving."
don't. That look in your eyes, I don't want to know.
So he says, "I'm trans." He's like, "Oh, what is he?" He says, "A low." What does he even say? He's like, something. I don't even remember what he said. Like he's like, oh, a load of. Oh, you said no. We're hauling.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
We're hauling butt. We're
We
hauling
are
butt.
hauling butt.
Unfortunately, in the movie, it's the more explicit version. But anyway, and he's like, no, that was I was just a way of saying things. No, I'm hauling something else. You want to see it? It's like, what? I'm hauling a heart. A heart? What are you talking about?
He's like, yeah, take it out.
Take it out. It needs to breathe.
And for an internet, this is why it doesn't. I have a cousin who was a heart transplant survivor.
Yeah.
Still is a heart transplant survivor, and so it just makes me uncomfortable.
Well, and then I'm like, you can't even be mad about what happens to the heart when you were the one like, look at it,
You're right. Yeah.
open it.
Yeah. This is. So the heart
even.
ends up flying out of his hands through the open window.
Oh my god.
Into
Dog
the-
gets it.
Yeah, it becomes a whole thing. The dog gets it. They have to clean it off. It is a mess.
Like never mind.
And then our character comes up with a way like, oh, well, if I just kill a stranger, take his heart, then it'll be fine.
I missed that
and
part.
then- yeah.
yeah.
Well,
yeah.
because then he starts asking Mr. Bean, like, you have any family? Or any wife, kids? And he's
like
nope.
he's gonna murder him.
He's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm
Yeah.
not alone.
Oh my god.
And Enrique figures it. He figures it out. He does it. He goes, oh, look at that man over there. And he takes off.
Bye.
Yeah, and just jumps
On
onto a bullet
train.
train.
Yeah. That
It's the
moment,
luckiest son of a gun.
there is no physical
It's
way.
No.
very much a Mr. Bean thing.
Yeah, it's definitely like, whoop, there he is. And so then he takes the heart and he's like, "Huh," and then he like rests his hand on the electric fence.
And doesn't it start beating or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, woo! And then we never see him again. So who knows if that heart actually went into somebody?
I hope not.
Because
It's dirty
I
bacteria.
still, I can't even.
yeah, it would be rough. So he's on the train now, and
Well, it cuts back to a different character.
who do we have next? After
I'm
that?
gonna say the brothers and their hot air balloon.
Oh,
Okay, this is the point for me. When we get the cows involved.
yeah. So
And then from that, it will go straight to Owen, I guess.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Owen hits the cow
Yeah.
with the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I thought when I watched it, it was the cow yelling for help.
yeah.
And I was like,
Bro.
are you serious? But it's the locksmith.
So yeah, so they chase the locksmiths to the hot air balloon. The guy takes the hot air balloon, steals it, and then they're chasing it with his car. He puts it on cruise control, which is not how cruise control works.
No.
Especially in a car that old, it would have the wheel anyway. So he puts his brother on the hood of the car to get and his brother fails to get it.
Well, the internet, they're after the locksmith because the locksmith has the actual key.
Yes,
Yeah.
because he didn't copy it. He just stole it because he heard their plan. And then they, I don't even know what. So the car continues to chase him. He gets the guy. How does he even get out of the air balloon?
That's a great question.
I can't remember how that
I
happened.
know he was one of the brothers grabs onto the rope.
Yeah. So
And
Seth
I think
Green,
he's like pulling at the locksmith and they're on the rope. And then the rope gets around a cow.
yeah, the rope gets around a cow.
Oh
Cow
my
gets
gosh.
lifted up. He runs into cows. And so they end up, I think, towards the lake. So he grabs the key out of the guy's pants, and then falls
Into a lake.
into
Lucky
a lake.
duck.
And then he turns around and sees his brother on the hood. So his brother could have climbed over the hood into the driver's seat, put a brake on, figured it out. Didn't.
Blaine is not the sharpest tool in the shed.
He just,
It sounds like the Goofy movie,
yeah.
like that.
Oh,
just like
yeah,
right
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
All over again. So then the car runs into something. His brother gets launched over, and Seth Green comes up looking like he's the sea creature from the ninth lagoon or something. And his brother goes, "Wah!" like thinking, but then he's like, "Oh, I got it," and they were okay. And then I don't know where do they go from here?
Well, for our sake, let's just go straight into Owen hitting the cow
Yeah.
with the bus full of Lucy's.
And then he just has a full-on mental breakdown.
So here's the thing.
I don't blame him.
Here's the thing. So Owen,
There's too many Lucy's in that
he
bus.
there's and this is where the conversation that we were having earlier about LGBTQ stuff is. So the guy, one of the Lucy's is like, I need to use the bathroom, and he's like, well, so before this, so the bathroom had overflowed with soap, and all of this madness had happened, and then we come
Very
back to
I Love Lucy.
we come back to it, and it's okay, everything's clean. I'm like, what happened? Did they stop out of that? Okay, whatever, movie magic. And he's like, well, you're all Lucy's here, and he drops his octaves, and he's like, well, not all of us. And Cuba Gooding Jr., obviously in the 2001 era was like, what is going on?
He's like, stop screaming.
Yeah, and it's this weird like moment of like in 2001 that humor would have been okay.
Yeah.
Like that would have just been the joke. But in this moment, in 2024, looking through the lens, is it as funny as we think it is? And the answer is I don't know. I don't have an answer. It's an interesting moment because I think in 2001, obviously we were in a different cultural headspace, and I don't know if anybody has any thoughts on that one, or if we just want to move past it and be okay with just whatever.
This might sound horrible, but I don't remember that even happening.
Okay, I'm a very
So
specific.
I don't.
It's a scene in which it's not similar to the scene in the Mad 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 World where the African American gentleman drops into the lap of the
Yeah,
Lincoln statue, but it feels like they were going for a joke. Probably 2001 audiences would have probably chuckled at.
Yeah.
But I was just like, what was the point of including that? But 2024, different world, different time.
Sure.
Well, because I was kind of thinking it was cool that they had like different cultural Lucy's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like an Asian Lucy,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool that they
Yeah.
were like different.
And it was interesting to see that at play. I think it I don't know if people in 2024 would know what I Love Lucy is.
That's fair.
I don't know if that would be.
That's a sad world.
Yeah.
Well, I was kind of thinking of the Lucy's kind of being like the Three Stooges, like
Oh,
little cameo.
okay, yeah, yeah.
Because I mean, unfortunately, Lucille Ball is
Dead.
dead,
Yeah.
so she couldn't like be in it
Right.
in
Right.
2001.
They
but-
kept her essence and
yeah.
Right. So.
Oh, when they all start crying like her.
Oh
my
my
gosh.
God. Nails on a chalk.
Yeah. Mute the TV.
Yeah.
they start trying to help and with the
Okay, so
stupid
yeah,
tire.
so this is where
It's like, stop, don't touch anything.
This is where I understand Owen's meltdown because
Yeah.
he does like he's trying to fix the tire. He's genuinely, and they're like, oh well, I got it, and then they start rolling the tire for some reason.
And then,
Why?
bye.
And he's like, that's the spare. That's what we needed. And then he tries to chase after it, and then the truck, because they all got off,
Tips
The
over.
whole bus flips over.
whole bus flips over, and they're like, "Oh, we'll tell the company. He'll be fine." He's like, "I am not
Not
an
a bus
actual
driver."
driver." Takes off all his clothes again, like just okay, all right, character,
Full on meltdown.
full on meltdown, and then they chase him
Yeah.
because they're mad.
I mean,
They eventually give up though.
Yeah, because he eventually wakes up like in the desert again or whatever, and he's close to Silver City.
Yeah.
Well,
And so he
enough.
steals a horse.
So he steals a horse.
And that's the end of his journey until Silver City.
Yep. So we got to catch up with a bunch of others. So
Who do we want to do? This is our rat race out of order.
yeah.
well,
But-
the family has some more.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Oh gosh.
Back to
back to our family in the Nazi car.
yeah.
So she's like, they found the harmonica. She
And
found
glasses.
the glasses, and
The
she has the lipstick. And he's just like, no. And again, the movie is getting us ready for what's about to happen. So he takes the lipstick and wipes it on the dash on the wheel of the car.
Yeah, don't forget that. And the lipstick is very dark.
Yeah, very dark. And then he's fiddling around with the lighter. He's like, oh, what is this? She's like, I don't think
It's
they
a
have those
cigarette
anymore."
lighter.
And then he inhales it.
Oh, God.
In his throat, and that is my nightmare.
Yeah. No.
And he spits it back out. And then
They get attacked by bikers.
they get attacked by bikers, and he's just
Because he says something to her, the lady, and
No,
doesn't
he-
realize.
he flips her off.
Flipping her off
but
by
he's like,
accident.
because
He doesn't
he
realize.
burns his finger on something.
So he
And
holds
he's-
it out the window to like
cool it down. And then the bikers see us.
And they're laughing about it because they're realizing they're being misunderstood, but they're not explaining themselves. And then she starts doing it too, and
Yeah.
it's just so stupid.
So they beat up the car,
Yeah.
smash it up around.
then they drive into a World War II veteran.
and-
in a Hitler car.
Yeah,
And then,
and then
Veterans
so
reunion.
when they crash, he hits his mouth on the wheel
in the perfect spot.
in the perfect spot to signify to
looks like
cosplay
it
as
looks like
Hitler.
Hitler's mustache,
And so he stands up, gets out of the car. She's like, "Explain it to him.
and
Explain
he
it
can't
to
talk
him."
anymore because his mouth got burned.
And so he basically is talking like
sounds
like-
like Hitler.
he
Yeah,
does.
he does.
And he
not only
looks
that,
like Hitler, too.
He's yelling.
Yeah.
And he's like, he keeps doing this, like
gesturing, doing
doing the arm thing.
doing the things we don't do and ever.
Isn't
in our-
somebody trying to shoot him?
yeah,
Yeah,
little
so he
dudes would have got
takes
him, man.
One of the so they crash land in a World War II veteran ceremony with a bunch of veterans, and just shock and awe is happening as he's standing like, and then one of the veterans pulls out a pistol and just shoots. And I don't even know how they get out of this.
I don't remember either. Maybe he just drives away.
They
Oh no! Okay,
they go to the diner.
Yeah. So
This is the part where I'm fuzzy because this is when I started like prepping dinner. So,
So he apologizes and says, I was being
this
selfish.
is my favorite line.
I was being selfish, whatever."
I do not want to spend the rest of my life working at Home Depot.
So we get a picture.
You don't blame
of
me, man.
This guy, his work history is spotty, and he has not had a great career in anything apparently, and he's desperate for money, obviously. Not that there's anything wrong with working at Home Depot, but
No.
he's a grown man and he should be probably in a career to support his family,
Sure.
etc. And so he says, "Okay, I'm sorry, I'm selfish, blah blah." So he walks away, and as soon as he gets out of sight, he throws a hissy fit because he is so mad that he's not going to get what he want to do. And then he spots SleepX, basically melatonin on steroids. And so he goes, and he looks up to heaven, and he goes, "Thank you." And I'm just like, "What is wrong with you?"
It's a very dysfunctional family.
It crosses into, I don't want to call it, I guess criminal. I don't know what this would fall under in the legal things. But he basically gets them milkshakes, puts in the SleepX.
But this stuff, like, I don't want to say the name of it, but Zoe, you know, like in the clubs, they tell you like watch your drinks.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Because
getting-
that's what this reminds me of.
Oh, totally.
So not cool.
Yeah. So that phenomenon, But so what he does is he SleepX's or melatonins his kids and wife, and then
I feel like at the worst possible time.
because the bikers show up.
Yeah.
So he gets them to go, and they get in the truck.
You gotta drag them into the semi.
Yeah, and the guy's like, "Are they okay?" He's like, "They're fine. They're fine. Are you all gonna fit?" She's small. He's like, "Let's go." So they take off.
Oh lordy.
And they basically ride that all the way to Silver City.
All right.
And then let's see. Let's go back
Oh,
to
we got to talk about our two favorites.
Meryl and Vera.
Yes.
Well, them. Oh my gosh.
And the rocket.
Okay, so let's talk about the rocket. So this is on the salt, like the salt flats or whatever, where they're testing speeds, and they hear how fast it can go, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna get it." So they sneak up, and they're being like Vanna White, and they're showing it because the reporters look at them originally and go, "What's going on over there?" They're like, "Oh no, this is what it is." Look at that, and they go, "Oh, okay, whatever," and they go back to the guy, and then he's talking about all the speeds and everything.
I love how they're just like. Modeling.
Yep, and they model getting into it, and then he's like, "Does anyone have any questions?" And Whoopi Goldberg opens it. How does it start? Oh, there's a green button, and then he doesn't finish his instructions because there's like, shink, and they are off like a rocket.
Yeah, and they shoot a bullet, and the bullet.
Okay,
is
so so in that we're now parallel with Amy Smart and Breckenmeyer, and he's been honest with her. He's told her, "Here's the deal. Here's what's
Finally.
happening. I'll split with you 50-50, like that. She's like, "Okay, let's go." So they take the truck. It gets to a shop, and the guy's like, "Oh, I can't fix it." And she knows obviously about it. She's like, "Oh, well, you could do this, this, and this." He's like, "Oh, okay, whatever." And so he does the repair, and he's like, "Oh, it'll be $500." And she's like, "Nah, that's like $20 on a couple of things of oil." He's like, he's like, "Okay." The guy, and so Brecken's like, "Fine, here's $500." He's like, "Well," she's like, "How can you sleep at night?" He's like, "Well, if the Lord didn't want me to be doing it, the Lord would give me a signal." He's like, "Oh Lord, please give me a signal." And this is when the two moments. So the rocket ship at Mach 1 or faster shoots by and destroys his gas station.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like in Mad when he tears down the
with
whole
gas
station.
station.
Yeah.
So the parallels are there. Because then, as the rocket blasts by, he has a gun in his hand and kind of shoots it off kilter. And so as they're flying in that rocket, that bullet is what's at the same speed as they are. And so that is kind of funny. I'm just like, oh my gosh. So they get their truck and they're on their way.
Yeah.
This is where it might get a little bit problematic because they stumble out of the rocket ship, and they end up getting corralled in with a bunch of folks who we would qualify as special needs, and because they're so out of it from being thrown through, I don't know, G-forces beyond imagination, they're stupefied, and so they're behaving in what would stereotypically be associated with adult special needs folks who are on a day trip. And so they get corralled in, which again,
I mean, that whole the staff would know every single person.
Oh, totally.
Right, they'd
So
be like,
there's
"You
so
don't
many holes in
belong.
that.
Like,
Doesn't
what is
hold
wrong
up.
with you?" But it does feel a little like, I don't know, out of like, it doesn't feel right, like, to have that moment, because I don't know. I just
Unfortunately, they made a whole movie like that.
which movie?
What is it called? It has one of the guys from. I can't say that on here. Hold on.
Okay, well
Hold.
holding.
You can keep talking.
Okay, so they end up on the bus with the.
Oh, the ringer. I still can't remember his name.
Johnny Knoxville.
Johnny Knoxville.
Oh yeah.
And he pretends to be like that
Oh.
to win the Special Olympics.
Oh
No.
Touch my city.
But it is a very funny movie, and I hate
In
to say
broad daylight.
that. You know.
Oh boy, when was that movie? When did that movie come out?
It was the
His
early
reaction.
2000s, too.
The Ringer.
It was the
It's
time,
another
I
one
guess.
of those movies that's like nowadays it's problematic, but back then
It was
I
hilarious.
laughed
It was
so
my
hard.
one of my favorite movies, but
I can't apparently type.
it has a
Oh,
good ending.
2005.
He realizes that he
Oh.
did something wrong and tells everyone.
Okay.
And like, I mean,
good.
there's a
There's a
moment.
redemption story.
Yeah.
That's good.
but yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
But that's the whole premise is like he's trying to act like
Sure.
that to win money in the Special Olympics, and
oh, jeez.
yes,
Oh,
So,
the early 2000s.
they've done more than
Whoa,
just
Katherine Heigl was in this movie.
Yeah.
Brian Cox.
yeah.
Oh,
It's actually
boy.
it's hilarious. But
Aaron, should we? Aaron, text your folks.
I already did.
Okay, good.
Yep, I already did. So,
But yeah, they ride the bus into Silver City.
yep, they ride the bus in Silver City, and they ask. Then they realize where they're at, and they go, "We gotta stop this bus." And, they're like, "Oh, no!" And then they grab her and choke her, basically, and they say, "You better stop this bus! Thomas, stop this!" And they turn her. Stop the bus. And so
Good girl.
They stop the
Remember
bus,
that
and they
part.
get out, and then they meet up with everybody else.
We got Dwayne and
Oh.
Blaine.
Yep, and then Enrico. This one's the uncomfortable one because he's on the train, and he has the key, and he lets the baby play with the key.
Oh
The
yeah.
key then
I
goes
remember
into the
this
car
now.
seat. And
they're just pushing all of our buttons in this movie,
Yep.
basically.
Yeah.
All the
And
buttons.
this is like, this is the one.
I would say this is almost the worst.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty
agreed.
high up on the list. He begins to look for the key, which looks like something else to the parents, and to the rest of the audience, it looks like something else extraordinarily inappropriate and illegal and everything else.
Yeah.
And it is just, it's, I think maybe in 2001 the joke would have been like, oh, they think he's doing this. In 2024, nope, doesn't stand up, doesn't hold up, is not acceptable.
Totally.
Right.
It's really uncomfortable to watch. I think I fast forwarded through it because it was like, nope, not doing this. So
This part I missed. This is when I was.
yeah,
prepping
you were
stuff.
okay to miss it. So if
Yeah.
you're, as you watch, this is the thing about early 2000s and even like, again, 2005 with The Ringer,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of movies in that time period which were just like, humor was humor. Sometimes we crossed some lines.
Yeah.
And I'm all about arguing that comedy should be comedy and there's not a lot of lines you should be not be allowed to cross. But this one's a line. I was like, nope, not funny. Not even close to being
Right.
funny.
Right.
Because it's rough. Okay, so they're all in Silver City.
Well, except for Dwayne and Blaine.
Oh, Dwayne and Blaine.
Yeah, they get distracted on the highway, run off
Yeah, that's a
into
word for it.
Yeah, so he's
Oh yeah, that's yeah.
they're driving next to two girls.
The girls.
The girls, and she's got all
Got
kinds
piercings
of
just like
piercings.
Blaine does.
Yeah.
They're
They're
showing their
soulmates.
piercings.
Yeah,
Oh my
and
gosh.
he's just like and then she shows off piercings in a place that we won't talk about, and both boys are distracted and crash.
Yep.
I'm just,
I can't with that.
I'm just going
know.
to say, like, back in the early 2000s, I saw this movie in the unrated version.
Oh,
Of course.
of course. Apparently that exists. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
They were making unrated versions for everything back then.
Oh, that's true.
I remember that.
That was a big deal in those.
And some of it was like, why? Like,
Right.
you watch the unrated version, it was like barely any different.
But that's how they got you. That's how they got their money. So it's like, oh, I can own or I can rent the unrated version or whatever. Oh, that'll drive sales. And even if it didn't show anything particularly, whatever, it still would have. You bought
Like,
the ticket.
I swear, sometimes like with because I saw Bad Santa
Yeah.
unrated,
Hey.
and I think that just had more colorful words in it,
Right.
which the original already had.
Yeah.
They did that a lot. I do agree. And I never saw Bad
remember
Santa,
that.
and I won't ever see Bad Santa because yeah.
It's funny.
I love Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh, I appreciate him as an actor, but that movie, the trailer I originally watched years ago was just like, what? No.
Yeah, he's not a good person in that movie.
No.
But yeah, so our brothers are now on a monster truck.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. The
Okay, so yeah, they crash in the monster truck. So this is what's annoying me. So they crash they get stuck in the monster trucks, and then they pull into this line of cars. And they look over and they see the truck jumping towards them. Instead of going, hey, let's pull forward and just get out of here. They don't. They panic and try and scramble out of the vehicle, and they barely get out before their car gets smashed. And then
they're in a monster truck somehow. They steal it.
yeah, so the driver of the monster truck comes over and says, hey, there were two
They
guys
steal
in
a
here.
lot of
Are
vehicles.
they okay?
They did.
Like it's nothing.
Yeah, they are grand theft felons. So they then jump into his monster truck and steal it and go ha 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 ha. Wah. And they bust out, and then they smash a bunch of people's cars in the parking lot.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then they take it on the road.
Yep, and they're on the road, and then we get them all lined up, similar to Mad
Mm-hmm.
Mad World, where they're all lined up. And
Well, they get there, and Mr. Bean's already there.
yep.
Yes.
And he is.
But he fell asleep.
He
like
fell
this.
asleep with the key inside of the.
Yep, and so the head guy, the guy who's sent there ahead of time,
like, congratulations.
you've won, but he's still asleep. And he says, oh, he's asleep. And then we cut away from that, and I remembered what happens next. I was like, oh, I know what they're doing. So everyone crowds in, and they find he's still asleep with his key in. So they pull him aside. And he's, oh, did I win? And then they all scramble, and they open it up, and it's
Gone.
empty.
And we can't
I
really
forgot
tell
that.
why. Okay, so like the commissioner guy
Yeah.
had a friend who stole the money. We'll just say that.
I would like
and
to quickly.
convinced him to be a part of it. Like,
Did
I'll
the
share it
friend's
with
name
you.
have to be Vicki? I mean, really.
It's okay.
Let's just say it was another betting plot line. that
That's
they've got
right.
going
I
on.
forgot about that piece.
Yeah. So,
I want a tub full of Pepto Bismol.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
yeah, and they're better. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
What?
that's funny. I do. That is because you initially are going, is this real?
Yeah,
Is
because you
this-
don't know anything
is
about
he-
this guy except he apparently has
Yeah.
no personality.
He's a weird little weird little duck. But no, he was being put up to it. And so then we find out the
He's
woman.
falling for her though.
Yeah, she's Vicki. She's in love with her, and he's like, "I'm sorry, sir. I brought her along." And then they get in the car and they take it.
Well, at first he was fighting with her, but then she kisses him and it's like, "Come with me." That's
Yeah.
all he needs.
Yep.
I'll drive.
Jumps in and takes off, and then
Somehow the hot air balloon comes in again.
Yep, the guy with the key. And see,
Is the cow still there?
The cow
'Cause
is
this is what I was
Yeah,
on.
so the
I just can't even.
the absurdity of this moment is classic because they totally committed to it. So the cow drops into the driver's seat,
Oh yeah. Crushes little man.
and so the locksmith grabs the bag, ties it onto the thing, but then he cuts they cut it, but then the hot air balloon is on its own with the bag and floats away, and so nobody gets the money. But then they get a double-decker bus, and they drive after it, and we're not sure where it's landed. And they're chasing it. And they're chasing it through a bunch of cars. And we're like, wait, what's going on here? And then they crash into something, and they get out on a stage, and they get the money down. They start opening it, and the lights come on, and it's a charity concert. It's hosted by Smash Mouth.
Yeah.
I can't remember which song they did. I was about to start singing, but I can't remember which one.
All star.
All star.
Yeah,
Oh,
they sang
okay.
All Star at the end. But he's like, hey, and if you watch the tally before they only raised like $9,000.
That's not
Yeah.
much.
So they hadn't raised a lot of money, and so they suddenly were like, and so the characters don't know what's going on.
Right.
They're like, oh well, we just met this morning, and we're gonna split it up, and we're gonna split it, we're gonna and they're like, they're gonna give us $2 million, and they go, no, we're not doing that. And it's like, okay.
But then the children start coming up
Yeah.
on the stage.
So
Because
this-
that's what the charity's for.
Yeah,
Feeding children.
the mom.
feed the kids or something
Yeah,
like that.
the kids and the founders or whatever. Oh, thank you so much for appreciating. I'm like, all right, there's no way any of them. But Seth Green's character does. He does.
Yeah, he's the one
He's
that
like,
holds
I'm
on.
no,
I'm not
no,
doing
I'm
this.
holding on to this.
And even with the brother, it takes a girlfriend's in the audience.
Yeah, she comes up and
She also apparently pierced her tongue
Yep,
recently.
yep. So they make out a little bit. And
Oh,
then
the germs.
Yeah, bacteria.
Oh.
The smell of that.
I know.
Yeah, that because that tongue is infected and has not gotten any better probably. So that's another alt moment for you. It's just,
I love his brother though. He's like, Dwayne, do it for mom.
Okay, but Aaron and I did do want to rant
that
on
was
that
like
part, though.
that was so
cheap.
plot cheap. Like it's just like you couldn't figure out any other way.
Well, mom wasn't even mentioned. If
At
mom had
all.
been threaded in the story, then
Yeah,
maybe.
if it'd be like,
So
hey,
I'm kind
mom
of
would
with
want
Aaron
us
on
to
this.
get this money, or
Right.
mom would want us to do this right. Like, okay, but to throw her in at the end. All right, you couldn't figure out a way to get him to change, so you did it. That's fine, whatever. Movie.
And then one of my favorite parts: the billionaire and
Yeah.
his friends who have too much money show up.
Yep, and they're kind of hanging out in the corner, and then Breckenmeyer, the lawyer, which
The smart one in the room who could pull this off.
so here's what I love about this is I had forgotten he was a lawyer until this moment. I was like, he's figured out. He's like, hey, our guy who put this all together, his name is blah blah blah. And
It's gonna match everything you
get-
raise.
Yeah, he just,
He
stop.
does more than match it though.
Oh, yeah. He says he'll match your donation. So from here forward, he'll match all of it. And so then John Cleese's character loses his mind. Yeah. He's like, put the cameras on him. Put the cameras on him. And so the cameras are on him. So he's no choice. But if you watch that total, it goes from $2 million to like $18 million.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's why John Cleese and all those guys are like crying and losing their minds because all this
Getting weird phone calls.
yeah, they're making phone calls to try and like whatever. So it's like they're gonna lose all their money. Punks betting on
On what flavor chocolate is it now? Like,
right or betting on maids hanging from the like roof from the roof or whatever curtains. Anyway, so then we of course get what every movie seems to have done in that early 2000s. We get a song at the end, and everyone's dancing around, and everything's happy. And we jump.
there's some
in,
crowd surfing going on. Do they do that anymore? Crowd
don't
surfing?
know.
Yeah.
I don't know either.
Yeah,
we were
yeah.
talking about this.
I
haven't been
used
to a
to do
concert.
it, but that was a long time ago.
You brave soul. Good for
yeah.
you.
Gotta do it at least once, Just saying.
Yeah, people still do it.
I'm sure they do. Just don't. My poor friend got kicked in the face by someone that was crowd surfing. So please be aware that there are
See?
faces around.
And also if you're the one that's going to do it, make sure the people under you are ready to catch you.
Yeah.
See, or make sure. I always say, take stuff out of your pockets.
Totally.
Yeah. So anyway, there you go. That's the movie. And
This
so
is a very 2000s movie. I
Yeah.
mean, we got. It opens up with "Who Let the Dogs Out."
okay. So the Baham, the
Like-
Baham. No.
Not a
It
dog
opens up
song.
with
The Rat Race song.
yeah. That I think that they made for that movie.
But yeah, then we get the
Who Let the Dogs Out when they all scramble to run, and then we get a remix of the of the theme song at the end of the movie.
And then you get some classics
Yeah.
thrown in there too.
Yeah, it's
But it's like I feel like every movie in the 2000s had "Who Let the Dogs Out" and "All Star."
yeah, because All Star was Shrek.
Yeah.
Was it
Kids
heavy?
still love that song today. It has
Uh-huh.
become a classic.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we talk about Smash Mouth's lead singer who passed away recently.
He's in this movie.
He is in this movie.
Yep.
Obviously young, but I think we've mentioned this before. I gotta find his name again. Smash Mouth.
I think it starts with a C, if that helps.
Smash Mouth. There we go. Steve Harwell.
Oh, nope.
Yep, Steven Scott Harwell. So he passed away September 2023 at the age of 56.
Yeah.
He struggled with addiction, alcoholism. His death of his son happened and made that worse. He was diagnosed with cardiomyopathy and Wernicke encephalopathy, which affects functions such as speech and memory. He was hospitalized in 2017 for his cardiomyopathy, leading to the cancellation of the show. He retired in 2021 due to health issues hindering his ability to perform. He died from acute liver failure at his home one day after his manager announced Harrell was in hospice for final stage liver failure.
So he must have pretty much just chosen to die.
He partied a lot.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, like, he had the money. He could have gotten a liver transplant. Like,
Could
he
have
could have
gotten
done
help.
all these things,
Yeah.
and he
Oh, yeah.
chose not to do that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so he had stuff going on. He did not.
what
But
about? Does he have a wife, ex-wife? Like,
So he was married to Michelle LaRocque in 2000. They divorced in 2019.
oh, okay.
They had one child, which unfortunately that child died. Where we got to figure out. Hold on a second. So they had a son together. They had a son named Presley who died aged 6 months in 2001 from acute lymphatic leukemia.
What?
Yeah. So he, not to say that Harwell didn't have a rough life. Like
That's crazy.
he it was not easy for him. Obviously losing his son at 6 months old.
Just never heard of a 6-month-old having leukemia. Like, that's
Yeah,
that's
who died
awful.
age 6 months in July 2001 from acute lymphatic leukemia. It's the cancer of the lymph node characterized by the development of large numbers of immature lymphocytes. Symptoms include feeling tired, pale skin color, fever, easy bleeding of bruising, and large lymph nodes or bone pain. So he did not. So he retired in 2021 and then died in 2020. So his story is not great, but if you think about it, Smash Mouth was everywhere in 2001. It was a big deal. So yeah, it's an interesting movie. If you had to make me choose between which movie I'd rather watch, I think if I got more of Amy Smart and Breckin Meyer, I'd watch it more. I'd be like, yeah, let's do it. But there's not enough of them in this movie to save it, and so I would probably like, give me Mad World. I'll take that over this.
No, dude, like, that scene's pretty, like, memorable to me. That I remember, like, that was the only scene I really remembered. I feel like
Yeah.
was the helicopter scene, because it's just so
Well, no, and I
Yeah.
love like that.
You
That's
can't
a
forget something like
those
that.
two characters are a shining star of this movie.
totally. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But there's also moments of just like,
I just love how different all of their adventures are.
yeah.
Yes.
They're not even remotely close to each other.
No, they are not. It is absolutely it's a good movie. It's not
Yeah.
great, but it's good. All right, so let's figure out how you want to rate this. We'll start with me because I've just talked about how I wouldn't watch it if I had a choice. I mean, I should revise that. I would. I think I would probably skip over the parts that I skipped over, like 'cause it's just me. I would say 7.5. Give me more Breckin Meyer and Amy Smart, and like have them be part of this more bigger. I'd give it a 9 if I had more of them because they're absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
Like, they're
yeah.
just fun to watch. And I do like John Lovitz and his wife's like their story like that. She is as much of a force of nature as he is,
Oh, yeah.
if not more. So 7.5.
I honestly see them, like, being married, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like-
they definitely act like they would be a good married couple
Yeah.
to be, and obviously like it feels more lived in, like their family feels lived in.
Yeah,
like it's not the absurdity of the experiences. These are not like when the kids crash into each other. That's not unusual. Apparently, he's just like,
No,
oh, the kids
that
need
happens.
you, gotta go. Like, but if they within that family, like they're it's a chaotic
Yes, 100%.
dynamic between all of them. But they seem to be okay with it and just kind of
It's normal for them. It's their normal.
yeah, absolutely. So I got 7.5. We'll go with Phil.
So I gave Mad World a 7, I think.
Yep.
So I'm gonna give Rat Race like a 8.5.
Okay.
I grew up with the movie, so I do have nostalgia for the movie.
Okay.
I think the adventures they go on are more entertaining.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
not as much as that, because the issue with me with Mad World was all of the Three Stooges type humor. I couldn't do 2.5 hours of that.
Yeah.
3,
Yes, 3.
because that'll be my main point.
Yeah, and I feel like the ending of this one was more meaningful. It was the money actually went to charity, and
They have a redemptive arc.
yes, yes, they do, which I don't feel like we get much of that in Mad World.
No.
So yeah, it's just a more enjoyable movie for me. So 8.5.
Okay.
I also would give it 8. This is one out of both of them. This is the one I prefer. I wouldn't give it a 9 or 10 because some of the humor didn't age that well for me. Like there's some parts I'm like, oh, I don't know if that's funny anymore, but there's still parts that I still absolutely love. I mean, the helicopter scene is iconic.
Yes. I'm almost like, did she really do it? But she probably didn't. But it's fine. I'll think she did in my head.
Okay.
I 8.5 or 9 maybe even because
Okay.
I think it's all the names for me, like having all these big name,
Yeah.
like really good actors and actresses. Also, it's the time thing. This was only an hour and 52 minutes instead of like almost 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like it's doable to still like tell the story and not be so
Well,
drawn out.
Mad World, in defense of Mad World, they had big name actors in that.
Yeah,
too.
totally.
But they're just not our generation. These
It's
actors,
definitely nostalgic because like every new character that came on the screen, I was like, oh my god, like oh my, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, like Amy Smart, I like totally freaked out because I did not expect her to be in this movie because
Yeah.
it is primarily comedians. Yes.
And then when the wife comes on, you're like, oh, she's in Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And you're like, don't act like you knew that. And I'm like,
You didn't know that.
I did know that. You've made me watch Hocus Pocus several times.
But yeah. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Okay. All right. Well, thus ends the Rat Race episode. What's next on our?
Well, next week we're doing Comic Con,
we're
so we will
we'll
not
be at,
meet.
We'll be at Fan Expo in Denver, which will be exciting. Hopefully, we'll bring back reports of excitement and adventures.
I'm so jealous I don't get Lucy's autograph.
I will bring you.
It's $100.
I know.
Or 125. It's
You
one
got to
of those.
tell. I want to know every detail about you meeting and talking to her because I'm a
Well,
little
you
jealous.
can sit and like stand and watch me going through the line
Okay, I will.
because I'm kind of excited.
I'd be like, let's get a picture and say okie dokie, but secretly film it.
Did you know it's
That-
my favorite word?
That will get me thrown out.
Yeah, because they take the pictures, right? And then they send
Well,
them
so there's
to you.
two separate ways. So you get an autograph, and there's no pictures taken of the autograph, and then the photograph session is the cattle call, where you are literally with them for like maybe a second and a half. Smile, go.
Yeah.
You get no chance to do anything.
So
with
you
it.
couldn't do that because they're taking the picture. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some autographs will allow you to pay extra for a selfie with the star, but I don't think that's gonna happen with Ella Purnell. We'll see. First time. I'm sure her lines will be long because Fallout
yeah.
is a
It's
big
Oh
one.
yeah,
Wow.
it's massive now. I mean,
Right.
it got. Let's put it this way: it got Vicki to learn about Fallout and
Yeah.
get invested in it. It got Zoe to complete Fallout 3. She is now working on Fallout New Vegas.
Nice. That's a fun one.
It's hard.
It's rough.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. It's
Yeah.
a tough one. Well, and it also inspired people to buy and pick up Fallout.
Yes.
And I wonder if Bethesda made a mistake in putting together Starfield versus putting together Fallout.
Literally, because I'd play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they had been developing a new Fallout in time for that TV series, but they wanted a new IP, and that IP is trash.
Dude, could you imagine if Cooper was there? It would be insane, I think.
Oh,
I
Walter,
would
Walter Goggins.
I would be like,
Yeah.
I need to meet a Maren.
Yeah.
Oh no, I think that's the thing about Fan Expo is that there's a couple of stars that were slated to appear but they canceled, and so we've got a dwindling list of people that we're interested in seeing. So we'll see what if anybody else in the next couple of days gets announced. We'll bring back pictures and reports.
There's a few of them that I actually did want. Not just from like TV, but they
Yeah.
had like the Black Power Rangers going to be
Yep.
there.
Yep.
Keith David, the voice of the Arbiter from Halo, is going to
Yep.
be there, and I'm just like, oh, can I just record your voice? Can you
No.
can you record my voicemail, please?
No.
No, I don't think that's gonna happen. But it's nice to dream. So we don't know what we're doing after to 2 weeks. What are we?
We've talked about Godzilla -1. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was also going to say, actually, technically in 2 weeks, we can't meet on that Sunday because we'll be going to the Renaissance Festival.
Oh yeah, that's our
That's good
'Cause
though.
that's
I'm
the-
glad you guys
the
are getting
Pirate
to do
Day,
that.
right?
That's the Pirate Day, yes.
Yeah,
So
I
you're going,
wanted
you're
to
going
do
on
the-
Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
nice.
wanted to do the Pirate Day.
Okay.
As you should, because pirates are awesome.
So we'll be off for 3 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So we'll make a plan. We won't announce what we're going to do because we will have a lot of time to plot and plan.
Surprise.
Actually,
I mean, in the meantime, we can get them to go to El Dorado.
Yes.
There's the new Godzilla versus Kong
Hmm.
is coming out. I think on Max.
Is it?
It might already be out.
It might be. I got to
Okay.
look.
So maybe. I know we're not going to officially state it, but we could do 1 week
Godzilla
minus
-1
and
then
next
do the,
week.
Yeah. Okay, I'm down. That should be fun.
Sweet.
All right, y'all. Well, this has been a pleasure and an honor and a privilege and all the other things. This has been Nerds by Screenlight. We will check with you and see you in a couple of weeks. Until next time. Bye.
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 You've been listening to the Nerds by Screenlight podcast, presented by Create at Morgan Productions, located in Fort Morgan, Colorado, USA. For more information on our production house, other podcasts hosted here, and further details, please visit www.createatmorgan.org. You can find us on Twitter at the handle CreateAtMorgan. Create at Morgan is a school club at Lincoln High School, our alternative education campus in Morgan County. Our sponsor is Aaron DeLay, a language arts teacher at Lincoln. Send any feedback to adelayedteacher@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to our podcast.